Bow hunting is a great way to enjoy the outdoors. The season is long, the deer are hopefully close, and you get to see some things you normally wouldn't see out in the woods. But bow hunting has a steep learning curve and a pretty small margin of error. With rifle hunting, you could be off in your stand or blind placement by 100 yards or so and still have an effective shot. Not that you don't have stuff to worry about when you're rifle hunting, it's just that with bow hunting, the importance of proper planning and preparation is just magnified. So in this video, we're going to go over 3 beginner bow hunting tips. And a lot of these will translate over to rifle season. And even if you're not a beginner bow hunter, kind of having this stuff reaffirmed, brought back into the forefront of your mind at the beginning of the season will help you have a more successful season. But before we get into the tips, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And the first tip for a beginner bow hunter is you have to have a good scent control routine. Making sure your scent control routine is on point is one of the biggest things you can do to ensure you have a successful season. Not only is it important for a specific hunt, but it's important for the entire season. You can ruin an area by not paying attention to your scent and repeatedly blowing out the area. Scent control can be a pretty hotly debated topic. This person's scent control techniques are better than this person's, and so on and so on. But I don't think it's a debate we necessarily need to even have. Everyone's got their own routine, but most of them have the same core things in common. First off is your clothes. Wash them in a scent eliminating detergent and try to handle them as little as possible. What I do is I will use field wipes or spray or something like that to try to get as much scent off my hands as possible before I take them out of my dryer, and then they go straight into a tub which only holds my clothes. I don't put anything else in it, and then I mostly just get dressed where I'm hunting. Your shower is important too, and make sure you wash your towel in the same scent eliminating detergent that you do your clothes. It doesn't make much sense to take a shower to remove as much human odor as possible and then to dry off with something that smells like flowers. I do use a spray product after getting dressed, but I don't rely on it as like my be-all end-all scent control thing. And that certainly doesn't mean that you can ignore the wind. Hunt in areas only when the wind is in your favor. And that's not just when you're in your stand, but how you're getting to it. You definitely don't want to be going to a stand that's, when the wind's blowing all your scent to where you think the deer are going to be. And the second beginner bow hunting tip is to make sure that you've done some effective scouting before and even during the season. One of the best things you can do before the season starts is to look at the area you want to hunt on an aerial map and try to identify these high traffic or potentially high traffic areas. And these areas are called funnels or pinch points. Deer are lazy just like people, and we will take the path of least resistance. So when you're looking for pinch points or funnels, you're going to look for something that provides cover, but also makes it easier to get to where they're going. And so this could be places between like 2 places of high elevation, and there's a low spot in the middle called a saddle. They'll use that to get over that ridge, or it could be something man-made like an opening in a fence or even the dam on a pond that's taken care of. They could also be areas of dense cover between ag fields, and they'll use that to get from one side to the other. DIY Sportsman posted a video on YouTube not long ago that is probably the most complete and easy to understand explanation on how to use an aerial map to identify these potential pinch points. I highly suggest if you need some help learning how to use an aerial map and to really focus in your scouting, you need to definitely check out this video. So I'll put a link down in the description below. And once you've used that aerial map to identify these potential hotspots, you need to physically go there and check them out. Look for good deer sign, like actual trails, poop, tracks, rubs and scrapes, depending on the time of the year. Just look for anything, the typical deer sign. If you find it, look for a spot to set up, and you may even want to put a camera up in that spot. Now, if you're on public land, you probably want to be careful. Unless you are okay with this camera getting stolen, you might not want to. Also look for ways to enter and exit your potential stand location so you can avoid alerting deer. And as you're getting closer to the season, and definitely during the season you're out there doing scouting, use this same scent control routine you would use as if you were out there hunting. It does you no good to go out there, try to find some good deer sign, and then just stink up the area with human scent. And the third beginner bow hunting tip is to make sure you understand how long you should wait after you shoot a deer with your bow. With a rifle, more likely than not, you are going to see that deer drop right there. But it's definitely not the case with a bow, unless you hit it in the spine, which you should probably avoid doing that. But You have to understand that it takes a little bit longer for a deer to die from being shot with an arrow. And you need to understand how to identify where you hit that deer so you know how long you should wait. If you go after a deer too soon after you shoot them, you risk pushing them a lot farther, and that makes your tracking and dragging job a lot harder. Or worse yet, you can push them so far that you end up not being able to find them. How long you wait depends on where you think you hit that deer. If you hit both lungs or the heart, you only need to wait about a half hour or so before you go after that deer. If you suspect you may have hit the liver, you need to wait at least 3 hours or so before you go after that deer. And if you hit guts, then you probably want to wait at least 10. You can get an idea of where you hit the deer by looking at the blood that it leaves behind. Bright red blood with bubbles in it means you hit lungs or heart. If it's dark red blood, then it's most likely a liver shot. You need to back out and wait a few hours. Now, if you gut shot a deer, you'll probably know you gut shot it without even having to look at the arrow. And the blood, you'll probably have a lot less blood. And if you got a full pass through, which most likely you would have with shooting it in the guts, that arrow will stink and will have probably some greenish stuff, maybe some brownish spots on it. That's how you know you gut shot a deer, and you need to wait overnight. That's why it's extremely important to take high percentage shots and then to practice with your bow before and even during the season. It will increase your chances of recovering that deer and then making sure that deer dies quickly. You don't want it to suffer. So that was 3 beginner bow hunting tips to help you be more successful this season. And even if you're not a beginner, it brings this stuff to the forefront, like I said earlier, so you're going to be thinking about it a lot more coming into the season. If you've got any more beginner bow hunting tips, make sure you leave those down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.